Friends of the Library book group, and our book this month is The Searcher by Tana French. First, I want to share something with you without going into detail. This past month, I experienced blurred vision in my left eye, terrible headaches, and I had an MRI of the optical nerve and numerous tests, and went to see a retina doctor. I couldn't read. So I remembered that Ann Hickey had told us about the Cloud Library. Do you remember that? So I went to the website on Riverside Library, and I signed up for a library card and was able to download the book, The Searcher, in audio, and I had it read to me and on my cell phone. Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Yes.
Technology. So if any of you need a book read to you, I heartily recommend, get a library card from Riverside and download the book, and it's read to you. So this book was my selection. It was on the bestseller list. It was recommended by 2 friends in a couple other book groups, not our book group. And I must apologize if anyone was offended by the language in the book. If J.K. Rowling wrote her first Harry Potter book in a coffee shop, I think Tana French wrote hers in an Irish pub. I don't know why authors, TV stories, movies, they all have to use such language to get a point across. I just don't get it. Anyway, that being said, I did like the writing. It was so poetic. She painted a picture of the surroundings, her personal thoughts. You could just picture the whole scene. I was pleasantly surprised, and I had to keep reminding myself that this book was written by a woman. It just seemed like it was, also the pub language, of course, and seeing it from a man's point of view. Has anyone read her other books? Anyone? No? Okay.
I would sure like to, though.
Yes, I am reading another of her books. That's how much I like this book. She's a really good author, and that exactly what you said. Her writing is beautiful, and you get a beautiful picture of what she's talking about. So good for her.
Which book are you reading?
I am reading the one right before, I can't remember the name right now.
One of the Dublin Murder Squad books?
No, it's a standalone book, and it's excellent. At first I didn't like it, but now I really do. And at first I didn't like the one that you picked, because I listen to all my books because I'm not very good at reading or remembering. But anyway, I thought, well, this guy is really slow in his audio, and I imagine you got the same guy. But anyway, I quickly got rid of that, and I just thought it was fantastic.
Chris,
Yes.
are you reading Broken Harbor?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's good.
Well, I was surprised to learn that she had written 8 novels. 6 of them were a series called The Dublin Murder Squad, which became a series on the BBC in 2015 and again in 2019. She has received 8 literary awards. Tana French was born in 1973, 48 years ago, in Burlington, Vermont. She is an American-Irish writer and theatrical actress that has lived in numerous countries and has for a long time been a resident of Dublin, Ireland. She attended Trinity College in Dublin and trained in acting. She has lived in Dublin since 1990. She worked as an actor in theater, film, and voiceovers until her late 30s when her passion for writing was rekindled. Her first book, In the Woods, was published in 2007, of which more than 1 million copies were sold. Anne Grimm emailed me a copy of an article from the Washington Post that likened her book to The Searcher, to John Ford's 1956 famous Western, The Searchers, plural, starring John Wayne. Did anyone see or remember that movie?
No.
I don't remember a lot.
I'm sure my husband has seen it.
I know, me too, my ex. I'll tell you, he's seen them all.
It was about a lone man, an outsider, played by John Wayne during the Civil War, searching for his niece who was abducted from her family's homestead by a Comanche raiding party. But our book, the main character is named Cal Hooper, or Hooper, I guess. He is divorced, semi-estranged from his adult daughter, and recently retired from the Chicago Police Department. With no ties to bind him, Cal has acted on his dream and bought a tumble-down Irish cottage advertised on the internet. It is so remote, he can blast his favorite Johnny Cash tunes as he speckles and paints, and only the sheep might complain until he meets Trey Reddy, who lives on a nearby mountain with a single mother and 6 siblings. Trey wants Cal to find his beloved 19-year-old brother, Brendan, who vanished months ago. And you want someone to want to pick it up from there and tell about the story or what they thought?
Well, the writing reminded me of Willa Cather somewhat.
Oh.
And also, the man from Minnesota.
Garrison Keeler?
No. Oh, shoot. Anyway.
The man who wrote this. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
Sinclair Lewis?
No, it's like Kendrick, but that's not it. And he goes by 3 names. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I love that. That makes me feel better. Keep it up.
But I think there'll be another book. I really do. I felt there's more to come. I'd like to know what happens to a lot of the people.
You think it might be a sequel?
Allison, his daughter, I feel like she has grown so much. She became more of an adult to her father, to helping him out. I enjoyed that, and I felt that might be another story. And of course, Trey, there might be some hope for that sweet child. And of course, I was surprised Trey was a girl. And I thought it was pretty amazing that you dig up a dead body for a watch. But
Yes.
he was searching and he was committed, and I really enjoyed it. The violence I didn't like so much. The language I thought was mild compared to so many books and television and movies now. Speaking of language, some people call it the F-bomb. A friend of mine has a 26-year-old boy and son, and she had a big party for him. I don't know if it was a birthday or what, like 40
I'll be back, excuse me.
40 kids, and she was afraid the neighbors would be so offended by the noise, but also the language. And she said she just couldn't believe that that's all the words they can really know, you know. And one boy in particular, he was just, every word was the F-bomb. And she went out and she says, you know, you're so intelligent. She says, but I'm surprised you don't have command of the English language any better. And he has never talked that way in front of her since. So there is hope.
You know, I think that that age, children start to use words that they would never use any other time. So don't worry, he'll stop.
Yeah.
Did anyone think that the characters were well-rounded?
No.
Well, I did. I thought every one of them was. Like the guy that was, gosh, I'm really lousy at this, but the mean guy who really wasn't mean, but and yet he was mean. He I mean, I just really liked him at first, and then I hated him, and I liked him and hated him. You know, the one that took him to the bar, and
Oh,
I think his name is Mark.
Mark.
And
Mark.
oh, the little girl, gosh, she was fantastic, I thought, and as well as the main guy, he was really good, and so was the girlfriend, the one that wanted to give him a puppy.
Yeah.
You liked her, or I liked her. It was just a really good book.
I think they were colorful characters, but I think what we have to remember, and you know, maybe Kathy, you remember when you were in Ireland, or anywhere for that matter, if you're going into a small, close-knit town, you know, it's really, really hard to assimilate into their way of life, because they've been, you know, generations the same.
Right, right.
And the characters or the people appear colorful to us, but that's who they really are. And it's you know, sometimes a little bit hard to get to know them. And once you do, like you said, you liked them sometimes, but like in real life, you just didn't like them sometimes. You know, that's who they are.
Yeah. As I was reading the book, I kept thinking of Midsummer Murders, the show that's on PBS.
Right.
You know, this quaint little town, you know, on the show, quaint little town with all these grotesque murders happening all the time. And I didn't think that this, you know, I knew it was a mystery, but I didn't think that it was going to get, because the way it starts, it's, you know, mostly description of the people in the town, and nothing out of the ordinary going on until he goes to that bar, the pub, with his neighbor, and then he says, they're warning me. And I didn't get it. And from that point on, I think I had lost, I don't know, I think I was getting confused or something about the story, or I don't know what, because there were parts of it that I couldn't figure out. But I loved it. I thought it was a great book. I probably maybe should go back and reread it or something, because I got so caught up in all the description at the beginning. And then once they got into the murder part of it, I was like, wait a minute, what does that have to do with this? You know, sort of, you know.
At the end too, I'm probably the only one who felt this way, but I wasn't sure he was going to stay there.
Oh, no.
And that was good. I liked that. He was, except for the little girl, and he really liked the little girl, and he also really liked the woman who he got the puppy from. But
I felt like once he took the puppy, that was a sign that he was going to stay.
You're probably right.
I don't think he would have taken the puppy if he was going to split.
Yeah.
We don't
that's
know
a
if
good
he's
one.
going to keep the puppy, though. He just said he wants to get to know it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Re-
did he?
Oh,
Yeah,
He wants to get to know it before he decides he's going to keep it, but
right. Or you might want to have given it to Trey or something.
Well,
That's true.
Trey's going to get one too. Wasn't
Oh,
that the
that's
deal?
right.
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, that's right.
yeah. So anyway,
He called his daughter Alyssa at the end to get her advice.
yes.
And so, and then she gave her advice on Trey. And then she said that not to leave because the girl would feel abandoned if he,
That's right. That's right.
I think that was the other clue about him staying.
Yeah.
I
I
got the,
thought
I
that
thought
was,
she was oh, I'm sorry.
no,
I
go
thought
ahead.
she was a social worker. She was so good. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Go ahead.
I
well,
forgot.
I was thinking at the end, you know, the title, The Searcher, you know, he was supposedly this detective or policeman going out and looking. I also got the feeling he was doing a personal search for, you know, some kind of inner peace or where he belonged or what he could be, because everything just got kind of messed up basically, you know, in his life. And he didn't feel like he maybe deserved much and was trying to figure it out. That's, I kind of had the ending was a little bit of a letdown for me, but I think it left you with trying to figure out really who was the searcher or what was he searching. That's how I felt.
At first, too, at the beginning of the book, I thought that she was dead, Donna. That he wasn't divorced, but that he was dead. For she was dead, and it took me a long time before I realized that they had arguments and they were mad at each other at times, and yet they had a good marriage to start out with. I'll shut up because I'm.
Lynn, I agree
Chris,
with
it's great to hear you. It is. It's great to hear you participating. I love it.
Yeah, I
Me
haven't done much because I'm so stupid.
Oh,
But anyway, go on.
Lynn. I agree with you about what is the extra meanings of the searcher, because I'm not so sure that was a life dream to go to a place like that. I think
Yeah.
it was, let's do this. I can do this, and you know, maybe things will happen. And I agree. But how about that house he was fixing up? Can you imagine?
No,
No.
Those
buy
walls.
that house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like he was trying to get away from his life. I agree with Lynn. I think he was, you know, when he would talk about the things that his wife would say to him and how she would get angry with him for becoming over involved in these cases and not being able to let it go. And I think that I got the feeling he went to Ireland because he thought he'd be able to get away from everything, you know, get away from that constant trying to figure things out and figure people out and all of that, and becoming too attached to other people in these cases. And yet he ends up doing the exact same thing because it's something that's just a part of him.
Yeah, I think it was kind of almost an existential crisis for him to try to figure out what the heck, after being the Chicago cop for all these years and seeing, I'm sure, a lot of crazy, wild stuff. He was such a deep guy that I found that really kind of fascinating. He had a conversation about the difference between, I think it was etiquette and morals and character. And I just, boy, I thought, wow. I mean, I grew up in Chicago. I didn't see that from Chicago guys. They were pretty tough guys. And so I was kind of fascinated by his character.
Yeah.
And that's why I like the book, because I think she made you really think a little bit beyond just her words. And she really described things very well. And I don't know, I liked it. I was kind of fascinated by it. I don't know about you guys, but on the internet, have you ever seen
I
those
loved it.
houses for sale all over the world for $1? You buy a house and you go and you get kind of in this dream. Oh, I wonder what that would be like to do that. Of course, I don't know if I'd ever have the nerve to, but you know, it can be quite probably a life-changing, beyond expensive experience, and maybe that's what she just wanted us to think about, beyond what the norm was. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, I don't know, but I enjoyed the book. So
Let me read one of the paragraphs. The morning has turned lavishly beautiful. The autumn sun gives the greens of the fields an impossible mystic radiance and transforms the back roads into light muddled paths where goblin with a riddle or a pretty maiden with a basket could be waiting around every gorse and bramble bend. Cal is in no mood to appreciate any of it. He feels like this specific beauty is central to the illusion that lulled him into stupidity, turned him into a peasant gazing slack-jawed at his handful of gold coins till they melt into dead leaves in front of his eyes. I mean, that's really poetic stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
like
can
I say,
you can tell why her, I have tried to read her so many times, but I tried to read the first books and I read that they were totally different than these, and I don't know, they're these last two, and I don't know if that's true or not, but the last two are so descriptive that it's just beautiful. It's worth reading it just to read her descriptions.
Yeah, it is.
I agree. Like I said, I only read 75 pages, but I loved that it was set in Ireland, number one. I think probably several of you may have traveled there. I did, and fell in love with the country. It is just so absolutely beautiful. And the people are so friendly and interesting with stories to tell, and the pubs are fun. And so I enjoyed that it was in that setting. And I've known a couple of Irish people who, as they got older, they came from Ireland and settled here and said they wanted to go back to Ireland to die. Family was still there, their heritage was still there, and so forth. So I loved that it was set there, and I thought her writing was just absolutely fantastic. So I would like to continue the book. I don't know if I'll have time. It is pretty lengthy, and I had health issues this month, so I just couldn't get into it as much as I would like to. But it's good to hear all your stories. There were a couple of spoilers. One is I had no idea that Trey was a girl.
Sorry.
Not to that part yet, I guess. So
No, it's quite long or far into the book before you find out.
yeah, I think if you continue reading, Roberta, you'll forget that, because you get so wrapped up in the character development and what's happening that you probably won't remember that. So you'll enjoy it.
and Hickey, you hardly said a word.
Well, to be very honest with you, I don't remember a darn thing about the book.
Oh.
I remember that I thought it was extremely slow and that I couldn't get into it at the beginning, but that's kind of how her writing affects me. I've tried to read some of her earlier novels and I can't get into them. I don't know what it is. I did like Cal as a character. I kind of thought that she hadn't done enough research to make him a viable member of the community, because Ireland has a whole lot of hoops you have to jump through to become even a temporary citizen. And none of that was addressed. So I think it was just kind of like he was lucky and he got to stay there. And I did like the mystery part of it. And I liked the little girl. I thought, it was so nice that somebody treated her like another human being. you know, and didn't talk down to her and took her in and showed her how to do things and how quickly she caught on and wanted to do well. I like that. But I can't remember much more. I remember the puppy.
Did everybody like the book, or were you?
I did,
I did.
obviously.
Yeah.
I did. I liked it very much.
Mhm.
I want to.
I wasn't sure near the beginning whether I would like it, but as everybody has said, the characters were so interesting, and the descriptions of the village and the mountains and the whole area was very commanding. Couldn't put that down. But the characters, I'll just talk a little about the town folk. Those guys in the bar, including his neighbor, were a real work of art. That's, I guess, being gracious to them. What a bunch of deceitful people, which you don't really find out until much later. They were kind of leading him on to think that they trusted him. And he figured it out that they didn't before I did. But I thought they were very interesting characters. And the shopkeepers were also quite interesting to me. I think it was Noreen was the one he bought his groceries from. She was certainly took part in everybody's lives. And the other shopkeeper, I think her name was it Christine or Catherine or so she was barely mentioned, but then she was mentioned again at the end, which she had a more welcoming view of Cal to the community, I thought. Anyway, I enjoyed the book a lot. I thought it was very good.
Did you, Anne, did you listen to it or read it?
I read it.
No,
I don't.
The other Anne, I'm sorry.
I listened to it.
So did I. And I thought
And I'm not saying I didn't like it, because I did. I enjoyed the book, but
Did you
I
like the narrative?
don't about her writing. There's something about it that just doesn't grab me. I don't know why.
Did you like the narrator?
Yeah, I did.
yeah, I did too. At first I didn't at all.
Yeah.
Marcia, I just thought of that author's name, William Kent Kruger.
That's it.
That's who I
Oh,
was
yeah.
thinking of. He
It
wrote
drives me nuts ever since you said that. I kept thinking, what was that? What was it?
he wrote this
Thank you.
Wonderland. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I've read 2 of his books. You know, something in this book, The Searcher, that I was confused about was the part where the sheep were being found
Oh.
killed. And I was trying to think how that was related to Trey's brother being murdered. It had something to do with that, I know, but I couldn't quite.
Being quiet, being silent, I took anyway, that they shouldn't say anything about the young boy that was killed. And so they removed that part of his throat.
Mhm.
And that's why.
Fergal was the sheep farmer, and Brendan had borrowed a quid from him.
Yeah, Brendan.
So I think they were trying to keep him quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's right, Chris. I think that's what she was saying. Yeah, there were so many twists, you know, that you didn't expect. And all of a sudden you realized who these people were. You know, you kind of, you didn't really think it was coming. And then all of a sudden it was there, at least to me.
Yeah.
Maybe that was it, because I think I would have left. Maybe, you know, I mean, here I thought all these nice people and they were not so nice.
Yeah.
I thought it was terrible that they sent people to Trey's house and made his mother beat him up.
That was the worst part of all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just couldn't believe it.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that we realize that there are so many undertones in other countries
I'm
that
sorry.
that we're not aware of, and they're harsh. They're really harsh. And when it's exposed like that, it's really a shocker. At least to me, it was.
Have any of you read Trevor Noah's book, Born a Crime?
No.
Oh,
It falls exactly what you were saying. He grew up in South Africa, and their concept of children discipline and police work and everything is so different than how we look at stuff, and it's everyday life for them. They don't think twice about it. That's a very good book if you ever want to, because I never heard of him. And as I understand, he's got a television show.
yes. He was on the Daily Show, and now he took over the Daily Show when Jon Stewart left.
Oh, I never watched that.
Yeah.
The book is quite good. It really is.
Say the name of it again. I can't write, so.
Born a Crime.
Okay, Born a
Because
Crime.
he was from mixed parents, white and African, and that was a crime in their culture.
Oh my gosh, that
And
was
he
a
carried
crime.
that stigma with him.
His
for-
crime? It's his crime?
that he was born from a white father and a black mother.
Wow.
So it was good, but they, like Lynn was saying, it's very different cultures, how they look at things and how they interpret, so different than we do.
Okay.
Last time we met, Kathy Cole was talking about Warwick's, the bookstore in La Jolla. Well, I went there 3 weeks ago, and it's definitely very alive and well. And they when I checked out, when I bought my things, they said, well, are you in the book club? And I said, oh yeah, I'm in 2 book clubs. And they said, I would get a discount, but it's their book club.
Oh.
So I didn't cheat them. They're alive and well, and I did not cheat them.
Good to know.
Yeah.
As
Martha,
Kathy Cole said last time, that the bookstore is so wonderful because so many of the people that work there write a little something about the books they recommend. I know Barnes and Noble does that very hit and miss, but they do it in spades. It's really great.
Where was that? What bookstore?
It's Warwick's in La Jolla.
Oh.
Yeah, my husband and I celebrated his birthday in San Diego, and so we bought a few books.
They used to bring in a lot of authors to do author talks,
They still are.
Oh, that's good to
They
know.
had a whole list coming up, and
Good.
yeah.
He had a bunch of streaming during the pandemic, which was really nice. The streaming of the author talks.
Oh.
Yeah, but they probably won't have that now that it's been closed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I got to see Cheryl Strayed there. She wrote Wild, and I got to go up and talk to her afterwards. She was autographing copies of her books. She did not talk about Wild. She talked about another book she'd written called Dear Sugar, which was based on a column that she used to write for a newspaper. And they actually did a play called Dear Sugar at the Old Globe Theater a few years ago. So I went with a group of friends, but yeah, she was really good.
Isn't Warwick's the one that was going out of business and some people?
Yes. And all the people in the community, well, not all, but a lot of people contributed money and helped them out.
I never read about that. I've never been there though. Well, being you all like the book, I'm going to read you Leslie Ann's critique now. Leslie says, from the reviews I read, this book was not as well received as Tana French's Dublin Murder Squad series. To quote Cal, when he explained why he retired as a Chicago cop, "I got weary, bone weary." Well, I too got weary of the story. Marketed as a gripping mystery, I failed to connect with the drama, other than the occasional exploration of neighborly friendships and dark family secrets. There was little tension to merit the description thriller. Some reviewers called The Searcher unhurried, others called it slow. Either way, patience on my part was required to finish the tale. French's narrative did bring out the claustrophobic nature of small town living and a range of characters, starting with Cal, who decided to move to a remote town in Western Ireland. Why he chose to live in a dilapidated house with no running water is not explained, nor his relationship with his daughter and ex-wife fully developed. Mart, Cal's curious neighbor, seemed uncomplicated on its first blush until we discovered more about him later in the book. Trey, the 13-year-old child, was wise beyond her years, but then she would have to be to drive the story. Overall, there were some compelling moments in prose, but not enough to make me a fan of the author. So we have one person that did not like it.
I think I
But
agree
she
with
found some
her.
good things in it.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she touched on a lot of good points. Actually, a lot of her quotes about why people didn't like it were taken off of the Amazon. You know how they have critiques and view, and a lot of that was because it got more 1-star critiques than it got about anything else.
How do you know they were?
Really?
Huh?
How'd you know they were taken off?
I read them.
Oh, and then they weren't there, or what?
No, I read them, and then she quoted some of them in her critique of the book.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe she felt the same way. She could have felt the same way as the people that were writing.
Yeah. And she brought out the points, some of the points that we all brought out that we liked about it, but you know, just like anything else, it's subjective. You either like the whole package or you don't. You know, it's and it's not saying it was good or bad, because she did bring out some good points, but she overall was not a fan. It's okay.
I want to read Broken Harbor though, because if that's another standalone, I'll give it a chance and see.
It isn't. It's totally different than the other. It's not about a cowboy. It's about an Irish boy who works. I think he's in marketing or something.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's very interesting. So give it a try.
Yeah, I think I will.
One thing about being on Zoom, we seem to get through quicker than when we're at the library, because we go sometimes the full 2 hours at the library, but we seem to finish up quicker here. So I don't know what it is.
We have fewer people here, I think.
Yeah.
And also we can hug though when we're in person. I'm a hugger.
Hopefully when we get back to the library, we have 3 people who did not join us in Zoom, and hopefully they'll be back. And then Anne has a friend that wants to join.
Oh, good.
We'll have
Anne who? Which Anne?
Anne Grimm.
Yeah,
You have another?
she's another person I met at book club. And sorry about the gardeners are here now. She overheard Chris Armstrong and I talking about book group and got very excited. She reads 2 books a week.
Oh my
she's
gosh.
definitely- Yeah, I know, I can't believe it. So she's very excited. She got sick and couldn't come today. but she plans to join us at the library next month.
Good.
Great.
Her
Aileen,
name is-
are you able to give us a little update how Sharon Golden is doing? Do you still see her?
Oh, yeah, I see her every once in a while, and I hope, I'm gonna call her personally and ask her to come back. I think she,
Good.
because after the death of her husband, she kind of took that really hard and, you know, was kind of lost there for a while. So I think she's doing much better now.
Good.
Daleen? Are you okay?
And me, am I?
Yeah, after that story you told us.
Oh, I'm still, no, I found out I was allergic to the eye drops and everything. And
Oh, you don't have a tumor or anything.
no, I didn't have a tumor. I didn't have all the other stuff they were looking for. But I do have glaucoma. So, yeah, and I need to take drops for that, which the ones that he suggested were $505. And I told him, no, I wasn't going to take them. So he's looking for something else for me to come up.
Yeah,
Wow.
Wow.
$500.
That was the copay. That was the copay.
Oh, my.
That was the copay.
Wow.
I'm
Jesus.
using some over-the-counter drops right now, but I have dry eye really bad too, so I have to have drops for those. Terrible. It isn't my house falling apart, it's me.
Yes, or your cat. I mean, you've had a terrible month. Bless your heart.
What is our next book?
Our next book, I will tell you, it
It's
is
you.
The Girl Who Wrote in Silk by Kelly Estes, and it is Ann Hickey's book. And you just ask about it, it's your book.
I didn't realize that. I think I just mentioned the name, but not to present it.
Well, that's our next book, and you're presenting it. That's what I have on my list.
And that's what I've got.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Has it on their list?
But I've got.
Did you forget?
I must have, because I didn't like it.
Oh.
So that's
Glad
okay.
you said that. I just started it and I don't like it. And I thought, this does not sound like an Ann book to me at all. I generally like everything you pick.
I thought it would be really good. It was recommended to me by a lady that I like her stuff. And I started it and I thought, no, but we'll go ahead and read it. And I'll present.
Or if you have another one you'd like to recommend, since nobody started it except Chris and she doesn't like it.
Is there something else? Or we could go to Kathy's book.
Well, I could highly recommend that Trevor Noah book, Born a Crime. It's nonfiction. Or, nah, I can present that. I mean, if somebody else wants to try it and see if they like it and let me know.
Did you finish it?
Beg your pardon?
Did you read it all and finish it?
No.
Ooh.
I didn't.
Well, that's not good news.
I know. Terrible news. Terrible.
So what?
Why don't we switch to Trevor Noah's book? That sounds fascinating, Ann.
It really
Ann Hickey.
was. It was, he was born during apartheid. And then after Nelson Mandela came out of jail and was in charge, but he's got a mother that is an absolute hoot. I mean, talk about a strong-willed mother trying to make a good kid in adverse conditions. But if you want to do that, that's fine.
Okay, let's do that. I'm fine with it.
How about the rest of you?
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
yes, it does.
I might have to email you. I'm gonna try and look for it right now, but if I forget the name, I can't write. So you're
There's
on.
Well, I'll be
Born a Crime.
out an
Yeah.
email, Chris, because people aren't here today and they need to know what we're.
Right. Well, I'm sorry, I goofed on this one. I tell you what, it went right over my head again. I'm sorry. I've had so much going on lately that I'm surprised, or not surprised, I should say.
Okay, so it's called Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
When was that Jon Stewart show? Is he in the same time slot?
Same time slot, 11 o'clock, Comedy Central. Yeah.
Okay, I'm
You
right.
awake at 7 o'clock at night?
No, I record it.
Oh.
Record it.
Okay. I was gonna say, that's too
No,
late.
I'm not awake. Well, sometimes I am, but generally I'm not. But it's a short show. It's only,
Okay.
I think his show is only a half an hour long, maybe, you know, as opposed to some of the other night talk shows that are an hour long. And he is hilarious.
Is he? Oh, good.
Yes, he's hilarious. He's
'Cause he-
very popular.
He was hilarious growing up, even though sometimes he was a bad boy.
Uh-huh.
But he was funny. That was his whole thing, was comedy, you know,
Yeah.
even as a child.
He's very smart. He mentioned, no, he didn't even mention it. I think I read it about him. He speaks something like 7 different languages that are all different dialects that are spoken in South Africa.
When you read that book, you'll realize the importance of being able to speak the languages.
Mhm.
Okay.
If you want to get ahead in anywhere at all, you need to speak more than one language. And there's so many tribes that each one has their own language, and they're all kind of together, you know. So to communicate, you got to figure out what your neighbor is saying, you know.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. How fun.
Okay, well, we have a new book then.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you
Born a Crime.
for switching. I appreciate it. Thank you.
okay. And
All right. We'll see you next month.
In person.
Yay.
I
So
just want to say
You
how,
can't do Zoom, can't meet in person in your jammies.
no, you gotta dress better. Let's
Yeah.
I just wanted to say how excited I am to finally get to meet everybody in person. You've been so welcoming to me. It's been over a year, believe it or not, that I've been part of a group. And this is going to sound bizarre, but it'll be good to see everybody from the waist down. You know,
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Now,
whole
maybe.
body.
Well, it'll be good to see you.
Yeah, Chris, we
Well,
appreciate you coming on to Zoom without, coming on to Zoom and our book group. So, okay, so we'll see you next month.
Next month. Everybody take care. Stay well.
okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks so much.
Bye.